Okay, hello again. I'm glad that you could join me. We are on the Klamath River. Highway 5 is over there. We're about 6 miles down the road from where you leave it. I would assume that's for gold, but we're giving it a little look through in case there's any other minerals, because you know, if they were building with a chunk of jade or something, that's what they were building with. So I thought we would look. It's always good to look. That's how you stumble upon stuff. I've come to piles like this and it looks like all the same stuff, and then you find one crazy agate that got thrown up with it. So, and to look around, what do we got? Serpentine lands. See a little bit of pink crystal here in the quartz though. Okay, well, I don't see any huge discoveries here that I can show you. On to the next, how about that? There are some gravel beds up ahead here marked on the map, and there was some thing in the print that said that rockhounds were had permission to look through the tailings. So here's tailings. Maybe they mean different tailings. We'll go figure that out. Okay, next stop. We came down the highway. We're at the Cayuse Deus. Sorry, that might not be how you pronounce that. I don't want to be belligerent with it, but it did sound fun. The Cayuse Deus area, the Klamath National Forest, and a bunch of gravel. We just passed a bunch of gravel beds upstream. I'm telling you, the bridge where we first stopped at, which crossed the Klamath to the other side, had access to this gravel road, not a paved road, a gravel road, paralleling this that has a bunch of gravel beds on it too. So let's go down here and see what kind of rocks there are. Let's go check it out. Look at how big these tailings piles are. I'm assuming it's for gold, unless it was a gravel pit production using the gravel for something, but it doesn't look sorted at all. Usually at gravel quarries it'll be sorted like through big screens. So huge machines go up and down the rivers with buckets and conveyor belts and that type of thing, and they scoop out the bottom of rivers and pile it next to there, and then the miners would sort through that with like sluices, which are the devices that you see on angle with water running down them, and the riffles to catch the gold. And then what's left behind is the rock that they've gone through that they don't want to put back in the river that they're searching through, because then they'd have to search through rock they already have, so they pile it to the side, and those are called tailings. Just like if you were whittling a piece of wood, the pile of wood chips you left behind would be your leftovers, your tailings. So these are tailings piles, and that's how they got there. And they were looking for something, or using it for something, and they stockpiled this. So this is humans came along. And all throughout California you'll see these piles. They're often overgrown because this was like 100 and so years ago now. So they're kind of hidden like this, but that's what they are. And they can be great places to look for minerals because they kind of had their blinders on and their tunnel vision going on, and generally they were just looking for what they were looking for. So tailings piles often, even if it's just where they're digging into a mine and making piles, will have minerals left over in them that they didn't care about. Or if they cared about them and knew them, then they were just too busy and they were watching their profit and their effort and balancing that out, and they couldn't go after the other minerals. So, and you can find out a lot of those minerals are noted by the people that were running the mines, and they're in the surveys, the geological surveys, the mineral surveys that are all free to the public online and stuff, and find clues as to what else they found. Because when minerals occur, oftentimes they occur not just one mineral. It'd be a highly mineralized zone, let's say, where a bunch of them are occurring, and then they're just harvesting one. I do not see agates, crystals, anything with too much clarity that that I can bedazzle you with right now. So we do have to slow down, that's the key. Yeah, just take one little shrapnel piece of anything here to clue you in that you should be looking, and then you spend the rest of the day looking hard and get a bucket full. Sounds awesome though, right? Something pretty satisfying about that. You want to do one more? I do. Listen to that. Nice basalt. Who wants to do this all day? I do, but I won't make you do it with me. We'll just do it a little bit more. Ooh. Okay. Okay. See, you'd have to make yourself stop, huh? There are some sites in Africa where they're called drumming stones, where they did play music on these stones, and you can see the spots where they beat on them for millennia. And yeah, so those have been used as music before. So here's a little magic moment. See this little dragonfly? This little dragonfly is crawling around on the land here because it just hatched out from spending its entire life as what would be called a dragonfly nymph. So you can see their shells here. They're a less pretty creature. So that's their exoskeleton that's hatched out of. They live most of their lives underwater, being a predatory water beetle crawling around on the bottom, and then on their day in spring they climb up to the edge of the water and crawl up to a spot. That's why you see these different shells. You'll see these stuck on rocks and stuff. That's where they crawled up to. Here's another one here. They're actually all over the ground if you look. There can be hundreds of them. And they crawl out of the spot in the back right there, find a spot in the sun, and then their wings have to unfold because they've been scrunched up. Of course, they didn't have wings underwater. And they'll sit out here in the sunshine and puff up, and their blood will run up into the wings until they're strong, and then they'll fly away and spend a couple of days finding their mates and living the good life. A lot of them don't have really long lifespans after that. Most of their life is spent underwater. So, oh, there goes the wings. They're popping out. Oop, see? Those are the first flaps. So something that has been an underwater creature all of its life is now metamorphosized into a creature of the air. There it goes. And they'll land in a spot up here now, dry out the wings a little bit more, and we can actually see the process. Here's the next one, climbing up the slope out of the water here. Can you see that? Here, little dragonfly. I gotta be careful not to step on them on the ground here. Come hither. I think they're kind of blind when they first hatch out. Beautiful spot to hatch out. They've been under the water until now. I can probably show you some under surface here. Let's put this right there. Now the wings are gonna unfold, open up. So they do not do a cocoon. They just go straight from that and crawl up on land. This is dust now. There's another one, and another one, and another one, and another one. And maybe, if we look under this rock here, it's usually where they spend their time living, is crawling around on the bottom. So when you look on the bottom, you can generally find one. You can see there's a lot of them here. But I do not. We'll leave that one alone. This is called pineapple weed. It's a type of false chamomile. It tastes a lot like chamomile. And one of the nice things about it, besides it being edible and tasting really good in teas and smelling really good dried up and put on your dashboard, warning it'll fall apart if you drink too much. This one is real lightweight. You could probably drink it every day and not have any adverse side effects. It's a real mild one. Some chamomiles are stronger and you want to be careful with drinking them daily and consistently, as they're actually more stronger medicine. So that's one of my favorite things about the pineapple weed, is that it's a gentle one, a safe one. It sounds like we have a mockingbird. Remember, every mockingbird has a different song, so they can learn hundreds and hundreds of sounds. So I actually know mockingbirds that lived by apartment complexes that had learned all the different sounds of car alarms. And it was super funny listening to them go off making all the different car alarm sounds. So every time you're listening to a mockingbird, you're listening to its own made-up song, composed of whatever it's learned. Dog rose. The wild rose, 5 petals. Petals are edible. The hips are edible. High vitamin C and other good components besides the vitamin C. People forget to mention that plants are an overall package and they're way more complicated than we give them credit for. These are the blackberries. They're about to bloom out, so those will be berries soon. Little tall rose, here's last year's hips on here. Even then, putting tea, you could still get something out of them all there. They're looking pretty faded. And then here's the dog rose opening up. It's a little treat. Doc. There's a lot of edibles. All of these willows that you see everywhere, of course, are medicine. That's where you get aspirin from. And salicylic acid in here, I believe that's what it is, if I remember correctly, is the main component in rutone. So, you know, the doctrine of signatures, as you've seen willows, if you know willows that live by water, and they just are prolific rooters. If you put any willow bark or willow leaf in with your plants and your cuttings and stuff, it makes plants grow roots. It's where they got the rootone from. So it's also aspirin. So many different peoples have used willow bark tea, which is bitter and horrible tasting stuff, but to cure pain. If you know all the different good things that aspirin can do for you, that's where it comes from. And the most dangerous thing that I see here besides human garbage is this. So this is a poisonous hemlock. It's about to bust out a bunch of white flowers. It looks a lot like a licorice plant, or the anise plant. We call it a licorice plant. It's actually anise. So people mistake it because you can chew on the little anise seeds and it tastes like a licorice. That's where it gets the name. They grow side by side. They grow in river conditions like this, in wet spots. It's one of the main spots that you'll find it. It's going to open up into a big white flower. People will often pick them for bouquets and stuff. It's got the burgundy marks up and down its celery-like stalk. See how the leaves come off like celery, so it's a little cup there. And there's stories. There's a proverbial story of the two Boy Scout kids that picked up a piece of this dry and made flutes out of it and still died because there was still enough poison in the dry piece. So it has the reputation of oleander for some reason of being something that kids have messed with and in urban legend, and I'm sure that that's actually a truth. And oh, it's straight and it's common and it's everywhere, and if you get it on your hands it can be transferred to mouth, is what I've been told. I haven't been personally poisoned with it, but I've been heated by some of the people who taught me how and where to eat plants to always warn other people about this one and just keep passing the heads up on it. So there it is. I'm imagining if it was small you could mistake it for some sort of, I don't know, any of the more wild celery looking plants, or an anise in its bigger form, or if just you were messing with it being a landscaper and you didn't know what it was. You know, warning, warning, I get hired to go and clear chunks of land. So that one, be a little bit careful with the juices for sure. And you know, don't let the kids wander around playing with straight pieces of it. Well, weird little wander. We got to get on the road again. I wanted to show you what I just spotted on my way out. So, for those of you who saw the metal detecting video where me and my mom went, and there was two trees in it that had grown together, and it was an oak, not this type of oak. This is like a white oak of some sort, I think. And this is some big old evergreen, not a digger pine, but they have grown up next to each other, and there they have leaned into each other, and so you have the twining of an oak and the pine, and there they are. Look at that. There they are again. Wow. So that has penetrated bark there for sure. Knotted up, there's sap from the pine coming down. I mean, that is a, not grafted, but well conjoined. Well conjoined. Wow. Okay, I don't know. much the last detail for this spot. Stop. Looks like there's a gravel bed here and easy parking and just a quick walk down, so we're gonna go look through the gravels and see what there is. I don't have my spray bottle or anything with me, but we can check it out. These are the culprits that I've been seeing bits of. These must be some sort of freshwater mussel. Really beautiful. It's a white pink mother of pearl tint and very thick with a little angle to it. Different greens. We're just here prospecting, so exploring around a bit. Oh. We're just out on the road again, and you're with me, and I appreciate you coming along for sure. One of the main motivations these days, year 5 of doing Quest for Details, is knowing that I have people to share it with, that I have an audience. For me, I was doing it more for myself, and it turned into this because you all ended up coming along with me, so that's how precious you are. It's turned into I'm out seeking adventures for us, you know. The people have contacted me and said, I can't do this anymore, I'm not in that area, I enjoy looking at pretty things, and you fill up my living room with pretty things, you know, every day, and go looking for rocks and stuff, you know. So here I am. You're my inspiration. You're getting me out of bed, and you guys get me out of bed on some very hard days. I appreciate you. I really do. it.